for joining us once again for another special episode of Talk and Fight. This is the Friday night panel. I've got Christian joining me along with Mike, and we're going to talk boxing, especially some good fights going on this weekend. But before we do, we're going to have a little bit of a history lesson because a part of our ongoing symposium on Sunday, we have Randy joining us, and he's going to talk about the Muppets. So I'd ask the panelists whether they've actually heard of Raging Bullfrog. But the response was no, but I have heard of Raging Bull. So anyway, without any further commotion or giggling, let's find out what Christian has to say.
Well, it is funny that you did mention Raging Bullfrog just before we got on the line here tonight, Grant. Well, just before we went on air tonight, because today's classic fight, we're talking about classic rivalries as we go on here. And so it's interesting you mentioned Raging Bullfrog because we are talking a bit of Raging Bull today and that rivalry. Because of all the most memorable rivalries in boxing's long history, that between Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta kind of stands apart. First of all, these were two all-time greats. Even early in their careers, fight fans regarded both of them as rare talents destined for championship status. Now, secondly, their personalities and ring styles were perfect contrasts to each other. LaMotta was the brutish Bronx Bull, and Robinson the stylish Prince of Harlem. And third, they locked up 6 times, the battles each becoming more exciting and more significant as the rivalry and their respective careers would progress. But their 6th and final clash is probably the most famous, in fact, because due to the fact that it was a massacre and would become to be known as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Now, both LaMotta and Robinson turned pro in 1941. Ray a welterweight and Jake a solid middleweight and undefeated amateur star. Robinson got off to a fast start in the pros, and by the time of their first meeting in October 42, he was 35-0 and already a top-ranked welterweight. The difficulty for Ray was that nobody wanted to fight him, and he had to consistently take on middleweights in order to stay active. Robinson gave away more than 10 pounds when he first faced LaMotta, but it hardly mattered. With his quick hands and excellent footwork, he took 7 out of 10 rounds. 4 months later, they met again, but it proved a very different contest, okay? So LaMotta fought with fury, cutting off the ring and bullying his way inside. Pounding right hands to the body and left hooks upstairs, in round 8, he landed Sugar Ray the very first knockdown of his career. Jake's ferocious attack sending Robinson through the ropes. Now, LaMotta took a close but unanimous decision and gave Ray his first defeat. Such was the interest in this budding rivalry that their third meeting took place just 3 weeks later. This time, despite LaMotta again knocking Robinson down, Sugar Ray clearly outboxed the Bronx Bull. And it was the same in their fourth meeting in 1945 in New York, with some at ringside scoring all but 1 of 10 rounds for Robinson. But it was a different story the next time out. Their fifth tilt, 7 months later in Chicago, was a bruising and desperately close affair. Both men hurt and bloodied. The thin 12-round decision again going to Robinson. There we go. Sorry. There we go. Though more than a few observers thought LaMotta did deserve the better of that contest, Ray himself would declare the toughest bout of his prolific career. 5 fights, 4 wins for Robinson. But the fifth meeting left many with a sour taste in a sense that terms between the two of them had not yet been decided. But for now, they would go their separate ways, the years passing as Sugar Ray would at long last win the world welterweight crown in 1946, and LaMotta would take home the middleweight belt in 1949. But by 1950, Robinson could no longer make 147 pounds and moved up to middleweight, setting up a 6th meeting. Now this time, though, with a world title on the line. February 14th, 1951, 15,000 people packed Chicago Stadium, and millions more watched thanks to the new and popular phenomenon of home television. They all witnessed a war for the ages. LaMotta was, for LaMotta, this was his last hurrah, and he knew it. While Robinson would go on incredibly to fight for another 14 years. Jake's fighting style necessitated more of a short career. Too many brutal wars, too much wear and tear. The 160-pound weight limit was a terrible struggle for him at this point in his career, and the day before the contest, he still had to shed another 4 pounds. So knowing that he lacked the stamina to go to distance, LaMotta altered his strategy for this final battle with Sugar Ray by starting fast, targeting Robinson's head more, and trying for a knockout. Meanwhile, Ray, fully aware of LaMotta's struggle to make weight, boxed beautifully but with an aggression of his own, tearing with hooks at Jake's ribs and belly like a frenzied ditch digger. Great turn of phrase there. The Bull's big chance finally came in the 6th when he stunned Robinson with a powerful left hook and followed up with a two-fisted attack that ended up drawing blood and had the challenger in retreat. But Sugar Ray survived, and the battle went on to round 11. By the time we walked out at the beginning of round 11, LaMotta's tank was empty. The champion staged a final charge, driving Ray into the ropes and unleashing a nonstop barrage in a desperate effort to score a knockout. But the gamble failed, and at the end of the round, he was reeling from Ray's counterattacks. The bell for round 12 would mark the end of what would be considered a competitive fight. Robinson scored at will now, and he wanted what no one else possessed, a clean knockout over the Bronx Bull. A fusillade of hard shots connected, hooks, uppercuts, and haymakers. Sugar Ray couldn't miss, perhaps out of respect for LaMotta's vaunted toughness or the 95 fights in which he had never tasted the canvas. The referee had refrained from stepping in. The champion somehow survived. The ringside physician visited Jake in his corner between rounds, but for some reason still allowed him to continue. Now, not for nothing, they do call this fight the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. In round 13, LaMotta absorbed a truly horrific pounding. Everybody could see that the champ had no chance of winning, but he just simply refused to go down, as he withstood a seemingly endless series of Robinson's best punches. The ref still appeared reluctant to stop this, even as LaMotta, now unable to keep his hands up, staggered about, catching clean, vicious shots that would have knocked down any other middleweight on the planet. It was only after a flush right hand nearly decapitated LaMotta, and ringside officials finally signaled for the battering to end, and the ref finally stepped in and raised Robinson's hand. Now, the savage battering that LaMotta endured quickly became the stuff of legend, and, of course, was as you guys will obviously know, was immortalized in the 1980 film Raging Bull, though in, the most outlandish and melodramatic manner, with Robert De Niro's LaMotta confronting Robinson ringside at the end of the fight and boasting, "You never got me down, Ray." That never happened. Okay. In truth, LaMotta could barely stand, let alone walk over and start taunting Sugar Ray. His handlers half carried the dazed, battered fighter to his corner and had to tend to him there for some 20 minutes before he was able to make the walk to his dressing room. LaMotta was never the same again after that, never fought for another world title, and would retire just 3 years later. That story comes to us courtesy of Michael Carbert from the thefightnetwork.com. And that's today's history lesson. Little Raging Bull, since you brought up the Raging Bullfrog.
And like I said, the reason I brought him up is because we've got Randy Nanjad joining us on Sunday, someone who we all know, and he's going to be drawing the correlation between the Muppets and boxing. And I don't know how, but he's going to do it. Anyway,
the Muppets were on Rocky, man. Come on.
I don't even want to look it up.
The Muppets were in Rocky. The Muppets were in Rocky. Rocky was on the Muppet Show.
There he is. The Raging Bullfrog.
The Raging Bullfrog. Oh my god! But yes, man. You guys don't remember? Do you remember Rocky?
I know. You know what? I don't even want to Google this one, Mikey. I want to wait for Sunday because I want to hear Randy lay this out in full terms. The connection there, because he will. I know Randy. You know Randy. He will do that beautifully, yeah. And I think I'm going to get more from it listening to his explanation than some random Googling that I'm about to do. So I'm going to sit back on this one, and I'm going to wait for Randy to do some educating.
Yeah, he'll definitely mention that the Muppets were in the Rocky movies, and they were. Rocky shows up on the Muppet Show and gives a little 1-2 on a bag, but we all know it's all Hollywood. But yeah, let's get into some real boxing.
All right, here we go. What do you got, Mike?
Last week, hey, what about Lahan? What before Mike gets into this week? Last week, Alvarez. We haven't talked since Alvarez Joe Saunders fight.
Yeah, I have.
Said we haven't talked. I didn't say we haven't been on air. I said you and I haven't talked, Mike.
Yeah, no, it was exactly everything that I expected it to be. It was exactly what I expected it to be. Alvarez said before the fight that it was going to take a little longer for him to figure out Saunders because of his his fighting style. And you know what? Alvarez did what he does best. He figured him out. brought it to him, and then to the fight.
I think Graham actually called this one in the 8th round. He actually called the round on this, but I think you called a liver shot.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, nobody's calling a broken cheek in orbital.
I was with you, Graham. I thought it was going to be body shots that decided that for sure, because obviously Saunders wanted that bigger ring and he was traveling. So, Canelo's trying to get on the inside there. So I thought it was going to all come down to body shots with Canelo getting inside.
Honestly, it was a well-timed and well-placed punch.
It was, but it was almost anticlimactic because you barely saw it because Saunders kind of leaned into it as it happened. So it was such a short throw that you almost didn't see it happen as it happened.
You got to see the other angle. The other angle.
No, I have seen. I've seen all the angles. Now I'm just saying, as it happened, watching the fight, you kind of looked at it and it was like, tap up, he's down.
Yeah, and that's why Saunders is catching the flack.
We done?
And that's why he's catching the flack that he's catching, saying that he was scared and, oh, yeah, he threw in the towel because he didn't want to fight no more. Listen, he had half his face caved in. That's why he didn't want to fight no more. And he still wanted to fight. It was his corner that was like, look, we're going to save you because, you got to save boxers from themselves because they'll get in there and fight till they drop dead. And that's point proven right there. His corner stopped the fight. Why? Because it caused a lot of damage. 3 breaks in the cheekbone plus the orbital. What's next for Saunders, though? We'll see.
Hey, here's a question.
Canelo's got Plant next, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Who do you think Canelo should fight next?
He should fight.
He's got Caleb Plant is his next one, and that's not until
Is
June.
That for sure? Is that signed?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
That's a signed deal.
All right.
It's either him or who else is he going to fight? Andre? Boo Boo?
Benavidez.
Yeah. Well, he's been ducking that one for a while.
They've been saying for a while now that he's been ducking certain guys.
Yeah.
Caleb Plant says
even your boy Charlo.
Yep. Yeah, he's been ducking Charlo. He's been ducking Benavidez. You know what? Is it a strategic play from his team? Probably. I don't think
Andre. Demetrius Andre saying that Canelo turned down $40 million to fight him.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's been going on for a while. Like, the thing that Canelo's corner has been really careful about choosing fights for him.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what they're doing, man. They're playing it. They're playing it smart. They want that undisputed. That's what it is.
Well, that's what Plant's saying right now. He doesn't figure that Canelo's all he's cracked up to be.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll definitely have to see about that.
September, but I mean, that's not until I don't think they're fighting until September 18th.
Yeah,
I think
that's the end of the summer. That's the end of the summer fight. That's a definite. That's the next bout. It's going to be a good one. I have to go with Canelo on that, man. I don't think Plant has what it takes.
Hey, I have a question for you, Christian, because you're a New England fan. This has nothing to do with boxing, with the exception of this headline. Logan Paul fights Gronkowski brothers. I don't know.
To what? The next buffet line?
Well, remember what you said last time? Remember we were talking about the Paul brothers last week on this, and we were saying that, these guys will fight anything other than an actual boxer. And that's been, that's been the thing so far. So this doesn't surprise me in the least. It's like, what are you going to do next in the boxing ring? I'm going to fight a football player. Gronkowski's, I mean, he's like 260 pounds. He's 6'3" and 260 pounds. He's not a little guy. I mean, when we're talking football, I mean, his blessing was always his curse, which was his size, which was if you wanted to hit Gronkowski, you had to hit him with 4 guys or he wasn't going to go down. And if you get hit with 4 guys consistently, you get injured because you're getting hit with like 1,200 pounds of armored meat at any given point in time. I don't care how big you are, you're going to get injured. So he does have his problems, but he's a big guy.
So we are talking boxing here, but anyway, Mike, the weekend's bouts. What do you got? I know you were over in Poland today, and you had a few looks over there. You saw some good things.
Yeah. Honestly, they put out a great production. I was impressed. It was way better than anything that Clarissa Shields got for her second undisputed.
Right.
The Polish know what they're doing. They put on a really good show. There was a lot of good fights. We'll talk about it on Sunday, the outcomes. Let's just say you guys don't really know anybody that are on these cards, and it's going to be great. I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about it. But we got to talk about the upcoming fights, man. Honestly, the Camara card tonight on UFC Fight Pass. Heather Hardy, Jessica Camara. That's going to be a brilliant card. There's
Yep.
a lot of good things on there. The co-feature on that is between Mika Krebs, who's 1-0 with one knockout of Niagara Falls, New York, making her DeBella Entertainment debut against Alex Love, who's 3-0 with two knockouts of Brighton, which is that co-main event. Also, we have New York's Melissa St. Ville, 13-4-4 with one knockout, known as Little Miss Tyson, will compete in an 8-round lightweight bout against former world champion Olivia the Predator Guerrera, who's 18-2 with three knockouts of Winnipeg, Canada. So it's a good card, man. It's really gearing up to be something great. Yes, our fan, the guys watching right now, Rated Flows. This is Talk and Fight. We talk fights. We talk all the upcoming fights all weekend. We have shows. Check out our website. Everything we have to do in the sport of boxing today, present, past, and future. That's what we talk about on this show. Just to let you know. Okay, any words on this Camara fight? Like, where do you think it's going? Heather Hardy coming off the the Amanda Serrano loss. This is a step fight for Camara.
This is a great chance for Camara to really show her stuff. I mean, she's a tough girl out of Montreal. Heather's a bit old.
Yeah, she's 38, right? Like she's not a spring chicken by any means. 22-1. Sorry, 39. She's 5'5". She's got a 64-inch reach. They're fighting at 137 pounds. Her last weigh-in against Amanda Serrano was 127.8. So she's coming up quite a bit in weight, man. She's coming up 10 pounds to fight a bigger, stronger Jessica the Cobra Camara, who we all know is a very heavy-handed boxer. She's a power puncher, and she drives forward, and she brings it to every opponent. And you know what? She's the bigger of the two opponents tonight, and I believe she's going to wreck it, man. I think she's going to come through, represent great for Canada, and she's going to stop their heart.
I think Heather's going to get knocked out. I think we'll see her on the Sunday show.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a great knockout, and hopefully she wins. Hopefully she wins the wonderful knockout of the week award. It's great.
All right, what else we got?
Well, we also have the Dos Santos, the Dos Santos and Bouts card. This one we're talking about for the WBA International Light Heavyweight title out of Manchester on Saturday. This is going to be a big card. I can't wait to see this one. This is gearing up to be something awesome. There are a lot of fights on this card. I believe there's 5 belts up for grabs on this card alone.
Mm-hmm. So hold on, which were you calling the this fight here, the Dos Santos fight?
Honestly, I'm not too familiar with Dos Santos. I don't even know. I don't know these guys well enough to really know. They're both undefeated. I know that much. Joshua. I'm going to say Boutsy. I guess it is. He's 13-0 right now. Dos Santos is 15-0. You know what? Anytime you get these big guys, light heavy, it's going to be a boxing match, man. It's going to be a clash. It should be something great.
Well, Dos Santos has been back in the ring a little bit more recently. So he's got a little. He was in the ring back in April. He fought as recently Ivan Nikolov back in April. So he doesn't have exactly the same kind of wait time he's coming off. So we might have a bit of an edge on this one.
Oh, definitely.
Because Bouts hasn't fought since, let me see here, October of 2020.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
and before that, he hadn't fought since August of 2019. So
and
whereas Dos Santos has had 2 fights actually, one in January and one in April of this year. So Dos Santos has definitely been more active this season.
Okay. Well, you know what? It always comes down to ring rust. Ring rust is always an issue. We'll see how it is. If Dos Santos has been in the ring more frequently, then obviously, you know what, he might not have that.
This will be his third fight this year.
Yeah. So you know what, call it. Who do you think's going to win it? Dos Santos? You going Dos Santos?
I'll call that one for Dos Santos. Yeah.
All right. There's a lot of other fights on that card too, man. It's there's five belts up for grabs. We got the Lerone Richards versus Giovanni Duperle for the vacant EBU European Super Middle title. Also on that card, we got Tommy McCarthy for the European.
Those guys are ranked real close, though, buddy. Those De Carlos and Richards, you're talking about the 38th and 39th ranked. Right there.
Yeah.
But you also got Southpaw versus
Richards,
Orthodox there, and there's only
definitely.
about an inch between them. So I think that one's actually going to be an interesting bout to watch.
Definitely.
There'll be a few things going on with that one, just the change of stance and stuff like that, and they're pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, but De Carlos has a lot more ring experience, man. You know, Richards has only fought 14 bouts, yet he is undefeated at 14-0. But De Carlos, you know what, man? He's 28-9-1. He's got experience, and you know what? Experience really helps, man, in these championship fights and in the late championship rounds, man. So we'll have to see.
Again, though, De Carlos hasn't fought since 2019.
Exactly. That's another thing, man. Ring rust, COVID-19, it's really screwed up the whole world of boxing. We won't know until we actually see them in the ring and how they're going to look. Until then, we don't really know what the outcome's really going to be. Also on that card, the Tommy McCarthy, Alexander Juror were the European Cruiser title. And then you have the Yami Yafi versus Jason Cunningham for the EBU European Super Bantam title. And also Dalton Smith and Lee Appleyard for the vacant BBB of C English Super Light titles on that card as well. So, you know what? It's gearing up to be a really huge card. Also on Saturday, the Brendan Figueroa and Luis Nery, which me and Graham, we talked about that, in the week. Honestly, the Nery fight is what I'm looking forward to, man. I can't wait to see that. I think Luis Nery should come through with the win there. Definitely.
Well, that's going to be a good one. Again, that's another Orthodox versus Southpaw matchup that you've got right there. Both undefeated, but you've got 21-0 versus 31-0.
Yeah, but you know what? You got Nery, two-division world champion, signature win at Super Bantam, and while the rising Fedora looks to use all his action style and earn a career best victory and announce his presence amongst the sport, right? The winner of this fight will face the WBO 122-pound champ, Stephen Fulton, who I profiled on the show this week in a unification showdown. So we're waiting for this one to happen, definitely to see what's going to happen next, man, to see what the unification bout's going to be. So the winner of this is definitely going to be, in the headlines and in the upcoming fight, because I think that fight, is scheduled for August, I believe. Don't hold me to it. I think it's August, or it might be July. There's so many fights going on. I've got so much crap going on in my head. I got to write some of these dates down. But, yes, that's going to be another good fight, man. And, where he's 21-0, 16 knockouts. He has it, man. And Nery, the same thing. This is going to be an epic fight, man. I can't wait. Figueroa returns to the ring after that most recent outstanding, stop of Damian Vasquez in round 10 last September. That was a great fight. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was an excellent fight. And if Figueroa brings that same attitude and that same style to the ring, man, then Nery might have a little bit of a problem dealing with him. But other than that,
I like a good southpaw though. I'm going Nery on this one. I like a southpaw. That.
Me too. I like Nery. I profiled him. I do like a good southpaw as well. It's definitely going to be an epic event. It's all these cards this weekend are great. Like I said, last weekend it kind of started off all these great events across the world. I wish we were getting more televised. Like there's so many cards on tonight, but we can't even get half of them. We're not even getting a third of them, to be honest, man. It's unfortunate, but there's a lot of good fights this weekend, guys. Make sure you tune in and watch this stuff, and then hopefully we see a lot of knockouts. I definitely saw some knockouts on last week that were not even on any of these main cards. I found smaller promotions, from small states, and I'm finding these great fighters that are up and coming right now and that are climbing through the ranks. And you know what? Soon we're going to start seeing them on all these cards, and you know what? It makes for great events. I'm excited. There's 6 belts up for grabs this weekend. We'll see who comes with what. Another good one is going to be the Xavier Martinez and Juan Carlos Bergeros for the WBA Super Feather title eliminator. That should be a good fight. I've talked about Xavier Martinez before. He's definitely a guy to watch. We'll have to just buckle down, do our jobs, and watch intently like we always do every weekend, and then bring everybody that fantastic knockout news on Sunday. But yes, I'm gearing up to watch this UFC Fight Pass night. We've got to definitely check out and stand behind our girl, Jessica the Cobra Camara, as she, defeats Heather Hardy in what I'm going to say is going to be a stopper. I don't think it's going to go the distance. Well, that being said, gentlemen, I don't know if there's any other things you'd like to talk about around the fight world. I know I'm gearing up to get ready for this UFC Fight Night on Fight Pass.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be an excellent event.
All of Canada is actually. We've talked to Jessica. She's a great gal. I think she's really been denied her shot previously. I think this is her shot. Heather Hardy's
Great
had
test.
her day. Had her day.
You know what?
Yeah.
She's had her day, and it's a great test, man. This fight will solidify Jessica as a world title contender. And
Right.
if she deals with her in the fashion that I believe she's going to deal with her in, it literally will be the stepping stone that she needs to get to a world title shot. And you know what? I know she can come through and do it, man. She's definitely the bigger of the two. I don't know why they're fighting so heavy for, Heather Hardy to even take a match like that. They're coming up 10-pound difference. Like, that's going to be huge. And especially, coming off that loss against Amanda Serrano where she didn't look that great anyway, and now she's going to come fight up a weight and, try to bring it to somebody who's obviously the stronger and much more physical person, right? Like Jessica Camara, like she's much more built than Heather Hardy is, man. And honestly, she's gonna destroy her.
It'll be a good fight, and looking forward to the fights tomorrow night as well.
Definitely.
And guess we'll see you on Sunday for the knockout show.
Definitely.
And as I said, we'll be joined by Randy on Sunday at 2 p.m. for the weekly symposium. All good stuff. And then next week, we're back to our regular slate of shows with the nooner featuring Christian, the 4 p.m. show, Knuckle Up, 7 o'clock show, Neil the Deal. So we got a full slate lined up next week, and I look forward to it.
Definitely. Me too.
Thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Thank you again. Thanks again, Graham. Christian, thanks. It's always been a slice. Always been a pleasure. Guys, we got to get to work, so we got to let our fans know. You know what to do, man. You have that like, hook, subscribe, keep knocking out those comments. We'll see you next Friday, 7 o'clock, same time, same channel, same show. The panel. Guys, view it, like, and share it.